someone wanted a boot camp of transformation. This was the best of the best.
News from the world of weight loss. Scientists followed contestants from the TV show The Biggest Loser, and they found that when the cameras went off, the weight often came back on. Their new study contains some hard and surprising findings about our bodies, and here's ABC's Lindsay Davis.
It was a record-breaking moment. After shedding an astonishing 239 pounds, Danny Cahill became the contestant to lose the most weight ever during NBC's reality show, The Biggest Loser.
Danny lost 239 pounds.
He went home with $250,000 that night, literally half the man he used to be.
Danny, your starting weight is 430 pounds.
But it was what came after the after photos that proved the biggest shock to Danny and many of the other contestants.
I didn't want anybody to know I was on The Biggest Loser because obviously I don't look like that anymore.
That's because little did they know what had dropped along with their weight was their metabolism.
A handful of self-confessed ducklings. It's the early 2000s, and reality TV is shaking up the television landscape.
Hey guys, it's me, Comrade Lavender here, and today I'm back with another anti-capitalism true crime deep dive video topic. Today I want to do more reality TV shows. Today I want to do the topic of Pure Evil, The Biggest Loser, and the Swan reality TV show files. Deep dive, capitalism, reality TV exploitation, capitalism profits, mental health, etc. So before we get started into this YouTube video, all my YouTube videos that are related to this topic right now will be on the screen right now. All my reality TV show videos that I've done. So let's get started into this YouTube video topic. Even the title is problematic. The Biggest Loser is an obvious double entendre, the coition of the phrase that is almost exclusively an insult in everyday life. In 2020, The Biggest Loser had come back to TV channels and was atrocious as ever. The reality TV show had disappeared from screens in 2016, but it had come back officially in 2020. The NBC network didn't officially cancel the reality competition or TV show, or the reality TV show. Rather, the network allowed the show to quietly slink away under a dark cloud of controversy. In its original 17 seasons, the show, a reality TV competition in which plus-size people competed to lose the most weight, was deeply problematic. The demonization of fat and connotation of skinny was initially the most glaring issue. The show's been known for routinely humiliating contestants that appear on the show, and that didn't help matters either, and later damning testimonies from prior participants and contestants that went on the show totally undercut The Biggest Loser's insistence that it was all about good health, but it was more about TV ratings and entertainment rather than health. In 2007, a season 3 contestant said that she had shed pounds by consistently dehydrating herself to dangerous degrees. And in 2009, the winner of season 1 confessed to doing the same thing. Ryan Benderson told the New York Times that extreme fasting made him so unwell that by his final he was urinating blood. He had since gained almost all of the weight back, an incredibly common occurrence for ex-contestants that appeared on this reality TV show. But there were 3 major death kennels that finished The Biggest Loser's original incarnation. One was the controversial 155-pound weight loss that left season 15 winner Rachel Fredrickson looking extremely thin, to the point that a visibly shocked, even renowned fat shamer, Julian Michaels. The second was a 2016 study that proved that competing on the show slowed down contestants' metabolisms so much it was nearly impossible to keep the weight off. The third was the internal investigation NBC had to conduct after contestants told the New York Post they had been given FDA-banned diet pills while on the show. And while The Biggest Loser's new marketing strategy promises a show about overall well-being, not just about thinness, almost nothing has changed. The grand prize, $100,000 now instead of the $250,000 of old still goes to the one who loses the most weight. And glaringly, Bob Harper is still the host. This despite a 2016 report in the New York Post that suggested he facilitated diet pill use when the show had 300-plus pound contestants carrying logs at the beach. It felt like a total overkill. Their body weight is significant for the exercise. I suppose the visual was just too sweet. A clear and evident example of TV producers trying to get more TV ratings over weight loss and putting profits over lives, as evidenced by the fact that the show disregards its contestants as soon as filming stops. The constant humiliation of already self-conscious people continues to be a central theme of this reality TV show because reality TV shows and networks will do anything for entertainment and TV ratings. When not being filmed vomiting into buckets in the gym, contestants are forced to take their shirts off before they are publicly weighed at the end of each episode. To make matters worse, the shame continues to be exploited in an attempt to give the show emotional depth. In the first new episode, Katrina, Christy, Kim, and Terry all cry on the scales. Jim looks despairingly and says he's mad. Micah describes his shirtless weigh-in as one of the biggest fears because I hate the way my body looks. And just like the biggest loser of the old, the new show works extraordinarily hard to portray plus-size people as sad husks of humanity, unable to achieve their dreams, inherently undeserving of love and probably on the verge of death, and it frequently uses contestants' own words to do it. Fi, an already attractive and stylish 36-year-old counselor, says, "As long as you can help me get sexy, I'm here for it." Terry, a 47-year-old flight nurse, meaning she rescues people in a helicopter for a living, says, "I'm at that stage of life where I either make my dreams happen or let them go, and I'm not ready to let them go yet." When the new Biggest Loser does attempt changes, they're minor to the point of tokenism. At one point, Harper sits the contestants down on the couches and promises to give them a place just to get together and talk, only to instead terrify them all with the test results that tell them how likely they are to die of an obesity-related complication. No word on how many years into the future those deaths may occur, so most contestants assume it's an immediate and cry accordingly. There has also been a shift with the coaches, most notably with the red team coach, Erica Lugo, a single mom who lost 160 pounds after the birth of her son. First impressions paint her as both likable and sympathetic. "I want to change the way that others think about the struggle with their weight," she says. "Lazy, fat, gross. I know those words were thought about me at one point. These people are none of those words." In an attempt to make the blue team coach, Steve Cook, whose entire career has been spent in the sports and fitness industries, more sympathetic with the confession of binge eating between photo shoots, is far less successful, and the new coaches continue to peddle the idea that fat equals sick. At various points, Cook says the show will literally save your life. In the gym, Lugo asks the oldest contestant there, "If we don't do this now, where are you going to end up?" He responds, "Doubtably dead." This messaging works. At one point, Phil despairs, "I don't want to die prematurely because I ate my life away." Pitting health and weight loss to one another with so little nuisance, it just peddles falsehoods that are already overly ingrained in society, and it enables fat phobia. At one point, contestant Kai recently said that being on the show was one of the biggest mistakes of her life. She said that the show was manipulated to amalgam many of the contestants. "In my season, there was a woman named Heather who's made to look like a combative lazy bitch," she said, but in actuality she had torn calf muscle and had developed arthritis in both knees. When she refused to run, they edited it to make her look lazy. Some contestants lost nearly 20 pounds per week, which is far more than reasonable and healthy. Suzanne Macedonia recently said that the show ruins lives. She was told that in order to participate, she would need to gain an extra 30 to 40 pounds before she went on, and said that many other patients were pressured to do the same. Why? To make total weight loss much more dramatic. Little is done in the way of counseling for contestants, despite the childhood trauma being powerfully linked to obesity. The show doesn't do season reunions. It doesn't do season reunions, and that isn't an accident. One study followed 14 contestants in the years after the show and after the study and found that they had regained most of the weight after the show. Even worse, they experienced permanent hormonal changes and damaged metabolisms from the jarring change in their body chemistry. Remembering the Swan, the most controversial and offensive reality TV series. That show was The Swan. It had like 1 star out of 5. A reality TV show that somehow ran for 2 seasons in 2004 by undergoing a complete plastic surgery overhaul, and where plastic surgeons made capitalism profits. As explained in the show's voiceover, a group of ordinary women hand over their lives to a team of cosmetic and plastic surgeons. They will be put through a brutal 3-month makeover, all for the chance to become beauty queens. Each week, 2 contestants will be transformed, but only will be judged beautiful enough to move on to the pageant. Presented by the Irish host Amanda Brydom, The Swan, so-called based on a fairy tale, The Ugly Duckling, choose a cast of the woman deemed to be unattractive and suffering from low self-esteem and give them extreme plastic surgery makeovers. Not only with just a box of hair dye and a makeup artist, but with specialty selected plastic surgeons. The doctors included Dr. Randall Hasworth and Dr. Terry Dubrow, who are both board certified by the American Board of Plastic Surgery. You'll recognize Dr. Dubrow from going on to star on E's Botch, showcasing his hypocrisy. He was on the show before his Botch reality TV show, doing the most for capitalism profits and doing all these surgeries to make bank, and now he's on Botch reality TV show, and now he advocates against extreme plastic surgery. The Swan surgeons and producers seem to only have one ideal of physical beauty, the stereotypical beauty queen Barbie look. Each of the contestants was transformed into a conveniently attractive woman with a plastic smile, wavy hair extensions, and usually a smaller waist size. Anything that made them unique was sliced away. Heartbreaking clips of each woman were shown on the show as they discussed their lack of self-esteem and self-worth, with Season 2 contestant Marsha Medelberg saying, "I felt completely unbearably disgusted with myself. My biggest fear is being alone. I give anything to not be invisible." Season 1's eventual winner, Rachel Love Fraser, cried as she said, "When you're a person who doesn't have a great deal of self-esteem, sometimes you feel like, why do I bother?" Each contestant was reviewed by the panel, including surgeons, a personal trainer, a cosmetic dentist, and therapist Dr. Lynn, who attempted to get to the bottom of what was going on. Critics of the show noted that her PhD in clinical psychology came from online accreditation program. After Rachel's raw introduction video, the surgeons decide what she needed: an eye lift, liposuction, breast lift, nose job, lip enhancement, chin implants, eyebrow lift, and veneers, while a trainer prescribed a 1,200 calorie diet and 2 cardio sessions a day. Dr. Idy pledged to delve into the insecurity transferred to her by her husband and father, with Rachel's husband, Mike, saying in a VT, "She's a little average, but when she's happy, she's a very beautiful person." A writer for the show, Rebecca Hertz, later told Entertainment Weekly, in a pre-interview, "I led her husband to say Rachel looks average, but he thought she looked beautiful. I cut it down to him saying she looks average, so he sounded like a mean, horrible asshole. He was furious when he saw the show." Rachel and Mike later divorced, much like many of the other couples featured on the show, reality TV show. After the 3-month period in which they underwent grueling, intensive surgeries rendering them unrecognizable and emotional transformations, the women were debuted to the public and to the team to make a glamorous reveal, with the doctors and show hosts fawning over them as they entered a ballroom. Each woman, who had been banned from looking in a mirror, for their journey, pulled back a curtain to look in the mirror for the first time to see their transformations from ugly ducklings to the Swan. The woman usually reacted tearfully, commenting on how beautiful they were now that their entire appearance has been changed. The show was later canceled after 2 series, both of which aired the same year. But the first series pulled in 9.1 million viewers on average, pretty good for a show that university is criticized by critics, although perhaps the phase of all publicity is good publicity came in at this instance. In her book, Reality Bites Back, Jennifer Ponzer called The Swan reality TV show the most sadistic reality TV series of the decade. While the show gained a resurgence of hatred and international attention in 2009 and 2010 when it aired for the first time on Channel 4, and this show has also been talked about in Vice's Dark Side of Reality TV documentary, Vice TV. The Swan on the show, many contestants of the show have spoken out against it, most notably Season 1 contestant Lori Ades, who was 34 when she went on the show and was given a tummy tuck, buttocks lift, inner thigh lift, dual facelift, upper lip, upper and lower eye lift, brow lift, rhinoplasty, breast augmentation, and a breast lift, the most procedures of any swan that's been on the show. In 2010, Lori, who had lost 150 pounds, herself in 1995 said she regained all the weight she lost in the aftermath of the show, and that she was depressed, bipolar, and suffering from body dysmorphia disorder, alleging that there was no aftercare from the show. She added, "I had the most surgeries of any swan in the history of the show, and it has all gone to absolute shit. I am a 300-pound mess of a person who's afraid to go on the outside." Swan coach Nellie Gotten was also an executive producer of the show. Her coaching style was judgmental, to say the least. She shamed women for the food they bought and ate and criticized them for complaining at the gym or not wearing their girdles. While she coached everything in a helpful tone, it was unpleasant to watch and potentially harmful to the contestants overall. Producers took advantage of vulnerable women who were then used as props to be molded to the particular taste of the doctors and coaches, and then contestants were sent home at the end of the 3 months and told they weren't worthy. Pure exploitation for TV ratings and entertainment. Almost all the contestants who participated in the Swan reality TV show are now divorced. According to a 2013 report from the New York Post, while the show itself is not completely responsible for the divorces, obviously, it's hard to imagine this is some sort of coincidence. Many of these women were clearly struggling with mental health issues and insecurities, and the show didn't address the underlying causes or issues that drove them to make these drastic changes.